Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. One second, I apologize. All right. Let me know the stream's okay and that everyone can hear me. Let me know where you are coming in from. Hello, said. If you guys could let me know you hear me and the stream is okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we are going to look at the big picture today and talk about it. Now, what I'm going to say, probably some of you don't want to hear, okay? But we're going to look at some logical facts and potentially come up with a bias of, is this the bottom? Is this a temporary bottom? And what are we correcting? Okay. So when we look at this structure on a long scale, log, whatever you want to call it, it stretches it out and shrinks it so that you can see the waves better. But what it also does is that it makes waves that took a shorter amount of time look much smaller than they really are. This wave from, and we'll even say $3,000 or $4,000, all the way up to almost $70,000, is 3 times as large as from 0 all the way to 20,000. So all of this price action that took place is 3 times smaller than the price action that took place from here to here, because we're on log scale. And that is what it does, and it can be deceiving. When we go back on regular chart, it's very obvious how much larger in price this wave is. Okay. So with that being said, for those of you that do not know, let's talk about an impulse wave really quick, okay? An impulse wave is made up of 5 waves. All the rules that apply to this impulse wave of 5 waves apply to the 5 waves that is inside of your third wave. Now, let's make this a different color. It's higher. So your main 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 waves in here, 5 waves in the third, and 5 waves in the fifth. The 5 waves that are in this third wave, which is the most powerful wave, is of smaller degree. That being said, your main 1 and 2 should be quite large, but your third wave is the largest wave. This 1 and 2 needs to be smaller because it's lower degree than this 1 and 2. So all of this price action is of lower degree, but this is your biggest wave of all the waves. Okay? Unless you get an overextended fifth And that doesn't apply to this, so I won't even get into it and confuse anyone. Okay? But this wave is the biggest wave and should be bigger than this one. So with that being said, let's take a look at Bitcoin and what we have here. We have a very large, from the beginning of time, all of that price action, a primary 1 and a primary 2. Then we have this little bull run that is very much obvious, that is smaller than this one. Okay, we have a lower degree 1, a lower degree 2. We have a lower degree 3, a lower degree 4, and a lower degree 5. This wave of $60,000 should be our main third wave. Now, also, when you are creating an impulse wave, your main fourth wave, you want to hold support in the smaller degree 3 and 4. Why do you want it to do that? Because if it doesn't, it risks falling through this insufficiency zone, which what happened over here. You can see we're back testing it now. So this main 4 did exactly what it was supposed to do and held support on this 3 and 4. And then what did it do? It pushed up for a 5. So looking at Bitcoin, it's logical to say that we have completed a 5-wave move and that we have just finished our main primary wave 1. When we look at the SPX, Bitcoin has only been around 10 years or so. We are in this price action. Okay, this is its primary 1 and its primary 2. So with that being said, let's go back. It's pretty logical to say that we've completed a 1 and we're coming down for a 2. Now what we want to ask is, and the big question is that everyone wants to know, is this 2 done? Well, we got to remember one thing. The markets move in price and in time. We have to consider time in all of this. Okay? There's a minimum requirement of time that all corrections should take. And that is 1/3 of the amount of time that it took the wave that it's correcting, 1/3 amount of that time. So pulling time on all of this, if we are correcting all of it, we are looking at approximately August of 24 to July of 25. And price needs to be coming down into this area, not going up into it. Now, if this is actually a 1 and we're coming down for a 2, I would expect it to take this amount of time, or at least hit this bar, which is August of 24. There is also, when we talked about the impulse wave and how we have 5 waves inside of our third wave, okay, there's only 2 things in an impulse wave that are allowed to overlap. Where your 1s are, your 1 and your 2s, and your 3s and 4s. Okay? Because all of this in the middle is insufficient. That's why these need to hold on each other and they overlap. So with that being said, the only potential other thing that this could be is that this is the top of a third wave and this is coming down for a fourth wave. If this is done, over with, and we're going up for a fifth. Now, when we look on regular scale, I don't like it because why? What is a fourth supposed to do? It's supposed to hold here. Okay. So with that being said, probabilities is that it's not that. Or I'm flat out wrong. I can be flat out wrong. Absolutely, I can be wrong. But looking at it, I don't know. It's pretty logical. Looking at this price action and taking how big these waves are in price and time, we'll see. Okay, but my bias is that this is going to take longer than we think. Okay, if we blast to the upside and we go past the expanded B pocket, okay, because this absolutely could make a flat here, something like this that just holds up here in this area. But if this wave takes out the expanded B pocket, hits the 1.618 extension, then it's not happening. Something else is going on. Okay. But it's a ways away. Can't really predict exactly what it's going to do now. We can sort of predict when we go in the lower time frame. And we're going to have to wait and see. Okay. But the only other thing it could be, and the only thing I can think of, is that it's a fifth wave. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin. Is there any questions about that? A leading diagonal. Well, here's the thing. I mean, it could be, but if you try to, go on, you'd have to do it on log scale. And I don't think so. I mean, we'd have to call all of this one. We'd have to do something like this. And it's probably not, okay? This much, price action, I don't think it's a leading diagonal. But anything's possible. Okay? I do look at the moving averages. I haven't looked at them in a while. Let's see where they're at. All right, so we're coming up on them. Let's go the monthly. We've just hit our heads on the 20 or 21. It doesn't matter, one off, okay? We've just bonked our heads on the 20. So that's pretty big resistance. We'll have to see if it's going to be able to get over that. Look at the weekly. Where the 20 is trying to cross the 200. This red one is the 200. If we're going higher, it's going to take them with it. All right. And we'll talk about that when we get on the lower time frame, what needs to happen. My bias is that we're probably going higher. Okay. I think my bias is that we've completed a wave one and that more than likely we're making a wave two. That's my bias. And like I said, if I'm wrong, then it has to be some type of wave five. Okay. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if we make a flat up here where Bitcoin sideways in this range here. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay? Because the SPX here, it did it here. Did it here? Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Where it breaks the all-time high, or just about does, and then we get this partner leg here. But it stays in a sideways range. Same here. I think that's very possible, okay? Especially if this structure here plays out the way that we want it to. Okay? All right, so let's talk about what's going to happen here. So we have this move to the downside. That's 3 waves. Okay, you can say that it's what we don't know right now, and anybody that says that they know, run for the hills, because they don't. All right, what we don't know currently is what exactly is this structure. Is it an A wave, a B wave, and this 5 waves is a C wave? Okay, that is a flat. If we want to go higher, all we had to do was put a connector here. The only thing we're going to talk about today is connector going to get bigger? Then it can give this leg its partner to the upside and could break the all-time high. Right? But that's option 1. Option 2 is that this was WXYXZ and it ended here. And that this wave is a zigzag. ABC 535. Okay, all it has to do is put a connector here, and then it can give it a partner and come all the way up to the all-time high. And the last option is that it was a WXYXZ and that it is 5 waves. And we can put a connector here as a B wave and give it another 5 for a bigger zigzag. Or I'm completely wrong, or we're going to make that 5th wave and we're going to go on a bull run. And this is a wave 1, and we've just made either a very shallow wave 2, or this is not done and it's going to come a little deeper and it's going to be a wave 2. Anybody that says they know right now, they don't know. But the good news is either the connector is over and this is the start of whatever we're getting to the upside, or connector is going to be bigger. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. So with that being said, because Bitcoin came and tapped the high here, it really invalidated any bad bearish scenario. There's only one that could happen out of the probabilities of everything that I just showed you. So there's, what, 4 or 5 ideas that for upside, and only one that this can fail. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So even if, okay, if we end up getting one of these corrective structures to the upside with one of those ideas that I talked about, this leg here will get its partner. But the higher this goes, the better, so that when this leg gives it a partner, it could potentially never take this low again. Okay? So the higher we can go here, or Bitcoin can go, the better. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in here. Okay? All right. So Bitcoin is trying to make a connector. It's either done, okay, where this was let's talk about the bullish option first. Bullish option is this was 3 waves, and this wave is the start of something, and it is a wave 1 of an A wave to the upside, or we're going on a complete ripping bull run. Okay, basically this 5 waves would complete, and we would have A, B, C to the upside to give this a partner. That is the bullish option. Okay, we could have, and we'll talk about that when we get down and really look at this wave, we could have a hit to the high to go to complete this wave. And looking at ETH, it suggests that we do need another hit to the high. Okay, the options that this connector is going to be bigger are the 2 ABCs you see in orange. The first one is that this was a flat ABC, and that this 5 waves we see is the end of something, not the start. It's a C wave making a B wave. That Bitcoin is going to come down in 5 waves and make a running flat where it does not take these lows. That would be extremely bullish, and it would rip to the upside. Second option is that, and that's called a running flat. The only bearish option we have is that this is a B wave, this is the end of something, and the C is going to come deep as an expanded flat. Why is this bearish, even though it's a correction? Because what happens is this wave is sharp and bearish looking. It would probably tap the bottom of this and fill this gap, and it would shift sentiment, people's biases, bearish. Especially if we come up and underneath this support. What happens is expanded flats happen at the top. We get this quick, deep C wave. Everyone thinks this is the start of something. They don't realize it's a C. It bounces, and when it could reverse, the buyers just aren't there. It bonks its head on the resistance, makes a connector, and now this wave needs a partner. And we'd end up breaking this low. So that is the only bearish option that is on the table right now. If you look back, expanded flats like to happen at tops. Let me see if I can find one. Here's one. Get this sharp C, comes up underneath support. The buyers just aren't there, and then it gives it a partner. Three, 5. The buyers aren't there. It gets a partner. Here's another one. Buyers aren't there. It gets a partner. Okay. So is that going to happen here? Well, I don't know. Okay. How will we know that it's going to happen? Well, if we're going to make this C wave or this wave 2, we need to come off this top control. Basically, say we get to hit to the high. We don't want to see a rejection that eats this candle quickly, back tests this, and then dump. We don't want to see that. We want to see something that maybe a diagonal, then it pulls back, and it gives us a little dump, 4th, 5th, something like that. Something controlled that we don't get a bearish, like, candles down. It'll eat this up very quickly, back test, and dump. That right there is going to tell you that we're making this C wave. If we come off the top in 3 waves, then we get 3 waves. That is going to be bullish. more than likely it's going to hold this support here, and this is more than likely going to be a 2. So that's what you need to look for. We need a controlled sell-off, not sharp and violent, whatever you want to say. Okay. So, let's see. I was talking about the 2-week. Are we talking about this, Mecca? Let me know if we're talking about this. Or are we talking about the whole structure as a diagonal? Okay. Just making sure my connection's still good. My kids are on summer break and there's like friends and everybody's connected to the internet and I don't want to lose you guys. Any questions about Bitcoin and what it needs to do? So I think there's a very good chance that it's going higher. We can kind of do some projections here of how high could it go. So say that this is the start of something, and let's just project as if this was a zigzag. We could definitely take the all-time high. We're talking 75,000. You could easily get to make ABC just like this. I take that back. I apologize. If this is a zigzag, this is connector, and then we put a zigzag, we're talking 64,297. Okay? A WXY shouldn't take out the 1.382. So, tap the all-time high. All right? If this is 5 waves, and we're making a zigzag, 5, 3, 5, then we're talking much higher. Okay? It could easily tap 75,690. Demi, the invalid, let me talk about that because I didn't. Thank you for reminding me. Put that back on. The invalidation for this B wave happening, okay, is going to be if we take out this 1.618. Really, we don't even want to tap it. We would accept a tap. So say that this is going now. 1, 2, 3, 4. We would accept a tap, but it better reject quickly. All right. It needs to actually tap one of these extensions here. And you're pulling that extension, if you want to put it on your chart, from this high to this low. A regular fib retrace, and these are the extensions you want to put on it. So B wave goes higher than that, then it's not happening. This is the start of something. Okay. We could get, an extended fifth here, and it just takes it out. Then we are looking for a pullback. It would probably flip all of this to support. All right. Let's talk about RSI real quick. Okay. Let's go to the daily time frame. Take a look at where our daily RSI is sitting. Okay. All the times before that it was sitting up this high, here, 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 okay. All it could really do from this high level of almost 80 is give us a +1. A +1. Okay. From this level, it can't blast to the moon. It has to reset itself at least back to 50, or at least really back to 50, before it's going to be able to have the power to move to the upside the way we want it to move. So when, say we get the +1, so say this goes a little more sideways, RSI will trickle down. We get the +1, we'll get divergence here. Then this will correct, say controlled correction. This RSI needs to reset itself so that when we get the big blasting wave, this can push up again. Okay? We need the daily to cool off when it corrects. From here, it may be able to push a little bit, but it's not going to be able to give us that ripping third wave. All right. Let's see. I'm curious how one imagines retracing into the 18s with so little Bitcoin left on exchanges, ETF income. Well, we don't know for sure right now. Okay. And if we are getting this partner leg, like I said, we could easily range up here and never come near this low. Okay. So if ETFs are incoming and, you know, Bitcoin's being bought up, then there's a good chance that, you know, this is what happens. Something like this. Okay. A running flat is very bullish and only has to hit the 618. So say that we come up to the all-time high, we're talking about 26,000. That's all it has to come back to, is just flip this area right here to support. So we get 3, 3, and then we get 5 that does this. This happens all the time, especially in a bullish market. Do we know for sure? No, we don't. We don't know for sure. But we know what to look for this next move. We need that controlled correction and not the expanded flat. We don't want that. Not that it can't recover. It can. It's just we don't want that to happen. Now, ETH is a little different, but everything else is the same as far as what this is. But when you look at the wave, okay, it's pretty obvious we need that +1. We've got a 1 and a 2. We've got a 3. We've got a 4 now. We need a 5. Otherwise, it's suggesting that if this rolls over, that this is just ABC here, and that it's a connector. Either this is the connector like Bitcoin, and then this needs a partner, or, and it doesn't really matter which one it is, or this needs a partner. It means more downside. So ETH needs to give us this plus so that we have a chance that this is the start of something. Same as Bitcoin, we want to see that controlled correction off the top, something like this, and we want to flip all of this to stay support. There's no reason to come back up underneath that now. And then we want to rip to the upside. Same as Bitcoin. Okay, if this is A and this is B, we could get that deep C. But the good news is that ETH didn't take the high or tap the high. So the worst that can happen to ETH here is that it makes a deep flat. Something like this. But again, it's all going to depend on buyers that come in here. Does it backtest and create a connecting wave? This is how bear markets work, okay? They make connectors when the market has a chance to go bullish and back on a bull run. Doesn't happen, and it makes connectors. This is the top of the bull run we had. We had 3 waves. At this point, it was still on top of its 4th wave. It had a chance to go bullish, but it didn't. It made a connector flat. When it did that, this leg needed a partner. It had a chance to go bullish. Again, it was still above its 4th wave. It made another connecting wave. Now, all of this needs a partner. It's still on top of its 4th wave. To go bullish, we were looking at this as a 4th still. What did it do? It made a flat connecting wave. Now, all of this wave needs a partner. We still had hope because it was still holding 4th wave territory. What did it do? It made a WXYXZ climbing correction. This is a connector. Now, all of this leg needs its partner. So, that's how they work. Okay? If this ends up being a connector, this leg's going to need a partner. The higher it goes, the better. So when the partner comes, it's not going to be as deep. Back to ETH. I think ETH is the same as Bitcoin. That more than likely, it has created a primary 1, coming down for a primary 2. We just don't know, what's going to happen here. If, again, it's the same thing. If it goes from here, I feel it's probably a 5th wave. And I would rather it be a 2. I think everyone would rather it be a 2. I'd rather wait it out. Okay, because then we're in for just the same thing. We're going to correct that whole price action from 10 years. We've already sat here since November of 21. We've already been waiting this long. I'd rather just wait it out. But we don't get to decide, do we? Right? All right, so let's see if there's any questions and requests. I think I did see one back here. Oscar, is RSI promising for that zigzag? It is if the daily can reset itself. The daily needs to reset itself. And we need to really hold, there's no reason now to break this correction right here. That cannot be broken at this point. Because if we're making connector here, it shouldn't break the prior connector. Okay? That's how they work. 3 waves, 3 waves, and then it does 3 waves. So no coming back underneath, say, 20. Let me look a little closer. I would accept a wick into there. So filling the gap would be the deepest, like absolute deepest, and it better V-shaped recovery out of there. So say that we get that flat and it comes down, we better see V-shaped recovery that comes right back out of here and finds support and leave a wick. Okay. But to me, there's a good chance this is the start of something, okay? And like I said, the only option we have for something bearish is that expanded flat. That's it. I don't see anything else. All right, so let's see. If I skipped over you and you had a request and I didn't see it, just let me know. I think we're starting with XLM. All right. So we've got this move to the upside that obviously we want to be a 1, okay? We do not want to break this low ever because we want this to be a 2. With that said, if this is not the bottom, we definitely want to see a big connector here. Because if we don't, it runs the risk of breaking the low. So we want this wave to give itself a big partner and get as high as it can get. So that when this wave comes, if it's coming, maybe it won't take this low. So let's take a look at this and see what is going on there. I have some. All right, see how deep this came? And how big this wave is? Okay, this could be a 5th here. But to me, this is screaming zigzag. Some Elliottians might be trying to say 1, 2, 1, 2. But look at the size of this correction compared to this one. And if this is a 5th wave right here, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's really this small compared to this big. This is not a 1, 2, 1, 2, unfortunately. Okay. I think that this is a zigzag. This was a correction. And this is the beginning of a partner. So we've got 3, 3, and so far, it's probability-wise here, we're probably going to get 5 over here. Okay? Let's look at this, see what's going on. So it's putting in a 5th wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it's putting in an extended 5th wave. So at this point, when it corrects, you don't want it to come back up underneath this area right here. There wouldn't be any reason to. This is the recovery that you wanted to see. So when it's done, we need a controlled correction right here. Worst case here is this is an A wave, and then it's going to pull back for a B and give a C. This looks like it's about to put in something that looks like this over here. Don't FOMO into this. That is my best advice. Wait for the correction. Okay? Let's see. All right, I'll get to your question in a second, CH. LUNC. Hopefully I answered your question there about that one. All right. So it looks like it's just been diving to the downside, which means when it finally turns, it will be the beginning of its um wave one. Okay. All right. So if it's not going now, the good news is if it does roll over again, it's going to create daily divergence here. The daily is trying to hold the bullish zone right now, which is good. Okay. The worst case, it rolls over, but it'll have that daily divergence to try to kick it off. All right. So it can go from here, but the only thing it can do from here is give a three-wave move. So really the best thing for this one to do is to go ahead and roll over and reset itself. So even if this leg here wants to give itself a partner, something like this maybe, it really does need to go ahead and reset itself. So that at that point, the daily divergence kicks in and potentially it can rock out of here in a five-wave move. Because as it stands right now, it has nothing off of the bottom lows here, except maybe this is a diagonal. That would be the only thing you could do with it. And it would be the start of something if it is. So right now, invalidation is this low. If this leg is going to give a partner, you wouldn't want to see it come underneath the golden zone. Okay, so it could roll over a little more here. Let's look at this little thing in there. See if maybe. Yeah, we can't do anything with that. So we'd have to have double diagonals. And this is carried on too long. So my bias is that but the bullish option is that it's going to give this diagonal a partner. But it could potentially get stuck here. So bullish option is it won't take out the 618, all this support right in here, and that it's going to give that leg apart. But if it rolls over, it will have that daily divergence to kick it off. Yeah. That's the best I can do on that one. Here's the thing. The stop loss would be pretty close, right underneath these lows here, because you don't want it to break the 618 to take a chance on it. Okay, if you're just so dead set on this one. Or if you have bags of it, okay, you want to see a ripping wave out of here that has no problem eating through this area right here and then consolidating on top of it. I can tell you what I would do. This is not financial advice, all right? But if it took its time with waves that look like this, overlappy waves, and it came up into this area and bonked its head and rejected, I would de-risk. Okay? That would be your de-risk area right here. It does have a good chance of making it up there. Logical trader, I apologize. I must have missed your email. Okay. I'll look at it again. Or can you resend it to me? I'd appreciate that. All right. CH, is it possible that Bitcoin topped in wave 1 in April of 2021? Okay. And came down in an ABC for 2 with an overshooting D wave in November of 21. Okay, I know what you're talking about. The move up to November 21 high was in 3 waves. So I know what you're saying, that this was the end, that this was an A, this was a B. We move up November 21. Oh. Okay, so this area here is controversial. Okay. I agree with you that it is. Hold on. Let me get all this off here. This area right here is controversial about, is this a 5th wave or is this a B wave? Okay. Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter at this point. And the reason why it doesn't matter if this started off with a wave that was like this, and then we got a connector, and then we got a partner leg, and this was the top of the wave 1, okay? Or it ended over here, and we got this wave, connector, and this wave. This could be very much, maybe not the 5th, and it actually is a B wave. The only thing that would matter at this point is where you pull time from to project when this wave 2 might end. At this point, it doesn't matter which one it is. Okay. At the time it mattered. And it was very hard to, to say, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or what does this look like? It looks like what we have right now. Okay. Or is that a zigzag of 3 waves? We could argue it to the end of the earth. We could analyze it to the end of the earth. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. But you could be right in that it's a B wave. Okay. What is your fib time frame to be considered? So basically, say that you have an A, a B, and a C. This retracement needs to take at least to the 1.25 to the 1.33. It has to at least do that much time, and it has to be coming into it. Okay? And then C wave. So any correction that is correcting a wave needs to take that amount of time, at least. And it needs to be not moving up into it, coming down into it. or vice versa, coming up into it. You know, if we're in a downtrend, it needs to be coming up into it. So if you had a wave that was coming to the downside, okay, let me redo that. And then we get this up move, but it doesn't hit here. And then we get this down move that hits it. No, that's telling you right there we're getting a partner for this. Because it shouldn't be coming down into it. It should be going up. And the same way if you were to flip it and we were going up. Hope that makes sense. All right, so we've got our normal, correction. All right, pretty much all of these are the same. Pretty much all of them, we want this prior bull run to be a 1 coming down for a 2. Okay. If this is the bottom, obviously we want this to be a 1 and a 2. Look how long this is taken. Okay, the longer in time that it takes, the more it suggests that it's a B. Now, it's not set in stone because this is the invalidation point down here and it hasn't taken that. But if this was going to be a wave 2, I would have expected just this correction right here. Not the connector and then the partner leg. All of that suggests that more than likely it's a B. But what can we get over here? Because this pretty much looks like 5. Or if it's not, it's coming from back here and it was a flat, but it still can give a partner something like this is what we want to see. So even if this is A and it was a flat of 3, this is all 3 and it's an X, we want to see a Y. If that's not the case, and this is the start of something of 5, then we want our A, B, and a ripping C wave over here. So let's look at this and see what the chances of this rolling over again are. Okay. Now, if a lot of these alts have this leg here, and some of them have broken the bottom, they've got a beautiful 5-wave move. So the ones that have broken the bottom, there's nothing else to do with it besides say that it was a flat. But it doesn't mean, even if they sweep these lows, that it can't get a move to the upside because we can have a flat happen here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. So it hasn't broken the low yet, but it's got this overlap happening. Okay. So right now, the only thing we could do with it is say that hopefully it's going to finish a diagonal. And then the diagonal could be a wave 1. Okay. But as it stands right now, it's got to give us that move to the upside and not break this trend line here. Okay. Otherwise, this is just a corrective move that could go higher. Okay. Because if it's putting a connector here, then we've got 3x, and it could give it 3, bonk its head here, and then this leg is coming deeper. Okay. So right now, it really needs that diagonal. Otherwise, this is going to drag out longer. Okay. Can't be an impulse wave now because it's invalidated itself. So that's what it needs to do. Make the diagonal, or at least get up higher. So when this leg gives its partner, it won't be so deep. And then we're still looking for a B. So here's an example real quick. Do you understand what I mean? That these alts can still save themselves. That's not the one. What was it? I think it's Bill. Yeah. So all of these alts had this beautiful wave. We wanted this to be the start of something. And then it carried on forever. And then it tapped its low. But we can still have this be a B wave as long as it doesn't break the expanded B pocket. Okay, so it could even, say it goes higher here, it could even roll over, sweep the low again, and give us a ripping wave to the upside. Okay, that's its really only hopes right now. If it's going to roll over again, is that it does this. Otherwise, this is bearish. Because if we're not going to get something to the upside in some of these alts, all this is a connector for more downside. They really, really need to go from here and give us something that gets up and above here, this area right here, so that it can get up higher, or, you know, it could just bonk its head here again, and that's really bearish, and it never gets past this area, and then it rolls over. So let's go back to what I was doing. Oh, I changed it. So I hope that makes sense, okay? The alts can still save themselves, all right, by giving us a partner for this over here. And the higher, the better. So Link's an example of it, okay? This was the wave that was to the upside that we wanted to see a partner for. Well, it can still happen even though it has swept the lows. Okay, by giving us a C wave over here. So this wave needs to complete itself, make a 5-wave move, pull back, and be a wave 1 and 2. 3, 4, 5. That would be its best bet. All of this sideways movement is a connecting wave. This stuff back here. These alts have got to pop to the upside, or they're just going to be crushed. So we need Link to give us a 5th wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Push above this resistance and then pull back into it. Control. And we could potentially have a 1 and a 2. Okay. The bearishness of that is that it unfortunately might just be an A wave. It pulls back for a B, and then it just gives us, you know, a little wimpy C wave that never really breaks these levels right here. But hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get a big 3, 4, 5, and it gets up higher. So some might try to say like W, X, Y, X, and this little wave be Z. That's not how it works. This X, if this is all X, it shouldn't be any bigger in time than this X, especially in a W, X, Y, X, Z. Okay? This is too long. What it is a connecting wave that's connecting this wave between the next partner wave. So we need this to come up and get it as high as possible. We need that on a lot of these. Right? All right. So Phantom did a good job of holding this area. So if Phantom's going to go higher, unfortunately, this looks like 3 waves to me. But this can be a connector that is either done and it's ready to give its partner of 3, or it's not quite done and this is going to roll over. It's all going to depend on what Bitcoin does. Okay? If Bitcoin's ready to rip to the upside, then this is ready to rip to the upside. I don't see a way off the bottom here. I know that this is big. Let's see. It just looks like 3 to me. If I'm wrong, then this is the invalidation for it right here. So, and then this would need to be the start of something, because if this isn't and it rolls over, it's probably going to tap that low. So this, again, okay, it needs to finish. It's sitting in a 4th. Yeah, it isn't even reached its 3rd wave yet. So we need this is what needs to happen. So it needs to give us a pop. It needs to pull back, find this as support, and then give us another 5 to complete an impulse wave to say that this is the start of something. Otherwise, this has just made 3 waves. It's maybe trying to make a connector, and then it'll give 3 something like this. You'll get all this overlap, and then this is just a connector for more downside. So it really needs to finish that 5 waves. It needs to keep going, finish it, and then if it does, you want this area flipped to support. It needs to push through it, flip it to support. I mean, it does have a chance of doing it. It just, let me say this. Impulse waves very rarely stall before they hit their 1.618 extension. But it's not unheard of that it eventually finishes. But that's what needs to happen. Otherwise, this is end up going to just be a connecting wave that we get more rollover on. And if that happens, then we're still wanting this leg to give partner. So when this rolls over, even if it sweeps these lows, we want that wave over here to give this a part. Okay. And it would need to hold, you know, all this area right here, because you can clearly see if it doesn't, that's insufficient area. If we're going to get that pop up. All right. So we'd have to say that this mess back here is a diagonal. But if this is going to be the start of something here, then, you know, obviously this is the invalidation point down here. We don't want it to come underneath the 618. That would be bearish, right? So no coming underneath this area right here. We've got 3, 3, 3 right there. So that's a complete move. So we need to see, what is this? Can't do anything with this to make it a diagonal, or so unfortunately it looks to me like it's a three-wave move. But the good news is this is trying to make a connector. So it's trying to make a connector to give this leg a partner. Okay. And then obviously then this will come, and hopefully it will never break this low here. And that would be very bullish. But again, as long as it stays above this box, it's bullish, because this looks like it wants a partner. If I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, because there's nothing I can do with this, then your invalidation is here. Here's the thing. This is telling you that it wants higher, especially when it made this correction right here. It is telling you that no matter what this is back here, that it wants to give it a partner. Okay? And if there is something in there where this is the start of something, you would already be in it. Okay? This is definitely saying, I want more upside. Especially the way it went sideways here, making higher lows. It's saying, I want more up. XLM is probably putting in a fifth wave, or an extended fifth. So how you measure them? It's the 1-to-1. And if it takes that out, then it's the 1.618. It's a extended fifth. And what pushes them is when the third is done, it breaks through or comes right up to resistance. And when this starts pushing, the breakout traders push it, push it, push it, push it. This is an extended fifth. So you'll have to let it finish, okay? Or you'll have to, play the fourth wave strategy and then wait for it to pull back. But TR. All right, so the bullish option is that this is a 1 and a 2, and then this is going to be a 1 and a 2. If that is the case, it needs to find support on top of this 1 and 2. So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the fifth, and then it flips all of this to support with another correction that looks like these. Very bullish. Now, the bearish option is that it's not a diagonal and that it's climbing corrective, meaning A, B, C, X wave, A, B, C. Okay? So, if it's going to be bullish, it cannot come and break back down underneath this support. So, when it's done, if you get a harsh rejection, it comes back down into this box, something, like this, that's not good. It needs to stay up here now if we're going to have a 1-2-1. And even if it's, not the 1-2-1-2, okay, and it's W, X, Y, if it can put a connector here, stay on top of the box, then it can give this a partner. Okay. So it's all about not breaking back through this area right here. Ready? All right. So we'll do Atom, Dot, Ada, E Gold, and S. And then I have, hopefully I can finish them. All right. See this overlap back here? So if this is going to be a 1 coming down for a 2, well, the only thing we can do with it is say that it's an expanding diagonal. Otherwise, it climbed correctively. All right. And then we have the 3-wave move off the top. And then, just like Bitcoin here, we want to know, are we going to get a bigger connector? So when this leg comes, is it, going to be better and not break these lows? See all of this overlap? And then you can't make a diagonal of it out of it because it popped out the top. So this is screaming corrective. So more than likely, this is a pullback. And what we want is this one to get apart. Okay. That's what we want to happen. So we need to look at this and see what that bounce is doing. All right. It just missed invalidating itself. So right now, invalidation would be here. And it does have the potential to be 1, 2, 1, 2. See how it held on top of this one? That would be the most bullish option. And it needs to stay on top and then scream to the upside for a big C wave. Or this is an X wave trying to make a connector and it's not going to get past here. So if it holds and then you get price action that looks like this overlapping stuff, then you know that it's going to bonk its head. It's going to end up being a connector for more downside. If it's a 1, 2, 1, 2 here very soon, it will just rip right through this with a big wave, 4th, 5th. Okay? That is the bull and the bear on that one. The only bull it's got is the 1, 2, 1, 2 potentially. And they end up looking like diagonal. Because you get the 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2, and then you might even see another little 1 and 2 before the blast off. But if it starts going up from here with overlapping stuff that looks like this, well, then that's not good. Then we've got a WXY, and it's not going to get past. Okay? But it still has hopes, even if it does that. No, actually it doesn't. It's come down too far. It really needs to, maybe. So say that it ends up bonking its head. Then we need this, something like this. And then maybe, just like the other one, we can get 3, 3, and then that big flat. That's all the alts will have left if they end up rolling over, is that they make a flat to get up higher. Otherwise, if they don't and they end up breaking these lows, they keep going, then they are, this first leg here was the start of giving this leg apart. I hope that makes sense without confusing. So we've got this big leg here. Okay. We want it to be a connector to this leg and give us something to the upside. But if it doesn't, and it just keeps coming down, then it's the start of giving this leg apart to the downside. Same with dot. Okay, this is the leg that we wanted the partner for. We didn't want it to come this deep, but it did. So if this is going up, then it's going to be that this leg is still getting a partner, and we could get a C wave. Okay, 3, 3, 5. Again, if it doesn't, if this just, gives us some type of little wimpy 3-wave move, and then this needs a partner to the downside, then this leg is going to be the first leg of giving this its partner to the downside. So really it needs to go from here. So it needs to finish. Okay. Get up and above this. See this? So if this finishes, we want to see V-shaped recovery where it pulls back and flips this to support, where we get this. Look, that's the V-shaped recovery look. Okay, where it dumps, then it comes back up and flips it to support. But it's got to get up here to this extension to do it. So it needs to finish the third, pull back on the fourth, give us a fifth, and then flip this to support. If it's going to be the start. Otherwise, it's just A, B, C. Okay, it could make a connector here and then give you something like A, B, some kind of connector here. But the whole goal is to take this out and get above it. All right, so ADA. ADA has the same look as all the other alts. It swept its low. Okay, so this is the hope, 3, 3, and this is going to be the start of something big, C wave. Okay. If it doesn't do it, then this little leg right here is the start of giving those legs back there the part. So right now, because it already has overlap, then its hope is a 1, 2, 1, 2. So invalidation is here, and it needs to stay on top of this area right here. It needs to stay there. And then either give you another little 1, 2 that ends up looking like a diagonal, okay? And then it rips to the upside. Or you don't, it's hard to see and it just starts going. Okay, but we need 3, 4, 5. This is the area to take out. Okay, this area right here, you gotta get above it, flip it to support. So these flats, they have the potential to go all the way up here if they want. That's how high. They can go to the 2.618, especially the ones that broke the bottom. And Bitcoin did this back in the day in a bear market right here. It did 3 to the upside, 3 to the downside that broke the low. And look at this ripping wave we got to the upside. That's what I'm talking about with these. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how big it could get. Just ripping in a 90-degree angle if they're going to do it. And I hope they do. It's very close to telling us. Same with E-gold. Okay. We want to see this start going where we get that flat. Otherwise, this leg here is already the start of giving the partner leg. Okay. So let's look at this, see what it needs to do. All right, so it's in a little, this is the third. See how it hit the resistance here? This needs to be the fourth and not break this fourth wave territory. And then we need to push up for a fifth, get above this area here, and then pull back and make this a 1 and a 2. And then you get, you know, 3, 4, 5. Otherwise, the bearish option, it could do something like ABC and never get over these highs. Okay, if it's going to be a flat like this, it's just going to rip through that like butter. C waves of flats don't play around. They're almost 90 degrees. So, yeah, so, you know, it could do this and just be bearish, but I hope not. All right. So we'll look at SPX and talk about it here for a second. So SPX is pretty simple. I mean, I think that it's pretty simple in the fact that you can see on RSI we have this high peak here. We also had a high peak back here. Those peaks happen at 1s and 3s, right? So we've got a 1 and a 2. It's obvious right here. It's obvious we've got some type of 3, 4, and probably a 5, okay? The big question is, and you can see the divergences we've had here. Here. The big question is this going to be the top of a primary third? And if this is done, is this going to be a fourth that's going to pull back into this fourth territory? Remember, they need to hold and then go up for a fifth. This fourth right here took 9 years. Remember, if this is the top of a third and this is going to be a higher degree fourth, it's going to take at least 9 years to happen. Because it will not be smaller in time than this one. It will be bigger in time. And this took from 2000, 2009. What is the other option? The other option is that this is coming to an end. And it's about to put in a big primary one. And it's going to correct all of this that's been going on forever. So really, we want this, to potentially, well, we're going to look at this leg in a second. Maybe it's not done, and we've got a fifth wave to the upside to go of the fifth of the primary third. That's where we're at with this. So the only hopeful option is that the fifth is not done and that it's coming into a primary third. But that bear market's going to be, so this was their bear market. They, people probably thought this was going back on a bull run, and then this came. So this was like a bear market, bull market, bear market for them, for this fourth wave. It was 9 years worth of it. Okay. So let's look at this leg here. Pretty obvious, pretty clear. Okay, we've got some kind of 1 and 2 back here. This is a 3. This is a 4. So now the big question is, what's this? Okay, is 5 done? Or is this a 1? And this is going to be a 2 of a big fifth wave. That's the only other option we have. Okay. Because this wave already came into its wave 1. So we can't have like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going up for 5. Because it tapped the 1. So this, whatever this is, it's done. Whether it's a 1 and a 2 of a big giant fifth wave, or the fifth is in. Okay. And then the only other thing we can revert back to is maybe we plan to get a bigger fifth, but guys, look how big it is. I mean, I don't know. Only other thing could be, and this I just saw, just caught my eyeballs, is maybe this is the top of a third. This is going to be a fourth. Remember, only 3s and 4s can overlap in 1s and 2s. So maybe this is the top of the third, coming down for a fourth that needs to hold this territory. And then it's got another fifth wave to go to complete the fifth wave. Okay. But if this is a fourth, and we've got a fifth to go, it cannot be this small in time. It has to be bigger in time, or at least the same size as this fourth. So we're talking at least to April of 24 of this, if this is going to be a fourth and a fifth to go. Okay. So there's a lot of what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, but you just have to take it leg by leg. As long as it stays above this fourth, then we can potentially keep going to the upside with a fifth wave. Break this fourth, then the next hope is that just maybe this is a 1 and a 2 of a much bigger fifth wave, but probabilities are slim because it's pretty big in itself. And then on the smaller degree scale, the good news is, okay, that it came off the top, probability-wise, in a complex structure. The only potential thing that could turn it extremely bearish is if this is an expanding diag. But if it taps this top, it's going to invalidate it. I'm more leaning that probability-wise, this was a 3-wave move. That we're going 3 up. It could tap the top, and then this leg is going to get some type of partner. Okay. And then from there, we'll have to see what does it do. Okay. Is this a 1 and a 2 of a big fifth wave? 3, 4, 5? It's, I don't know for sure. But if it can not break this territory, it has a really good chance of more upside and years of it. Because, guys, this is 2020 right here. Okay. That's, you know, a big fifth wave could take Bitcoin's whole bull market, the next bull market. So the only way that this is going completely bullish is if this is a leading diagonal right here. It has to be a leading diagonal of 1 and 2. And it's got real problems with this wave, okay? But it's going to have to keep going all the way up here for the third. And look how just lethargic it is. Third waves don't act like this, okay? They push. And it's got this middle connecting wave in between two pretty much equal size waves. I'm really leaning that this is a 3-wave move. And it can come all the way up here if it wants to. And then probability-wise, we're probably going to get this. Even if this was 1, 2, and then we had 1, 2, this should have just ripped to the upside. And it's just lethargic and weak. To me, we have a W and we have an X. And it's just not quite done with its Y. Maybe up to here. And then we're going to need this one, partner. But even if it did this, okay, that's bullish. Okay, it's like this one, look. 3, then it made 3 to the upside that completely broke this high. This is an expanded flat right here. This is a COVID dump, I think. So it could potentially just not even ever take that low again, and then up it goes. Okay. So I hope you guys learned something. Let me see what questions are left. Crypto, yeah. I mean, absolutely, it could go to 40K or 50 or 60 for the B wave. The big wave, is it part from impulse wave or triangle? Correct. Which big wave? Hi, if you're still here, let me know which wave you're talking about, whether you're talking about SPX or what. Sorry, I don't understand your question. Alrighty, guys, thank you for sticking it out. If you would like a free trial for the Discord, just email me. All right, my email's underneath the videos. Shows my website, the course, all that stuff. And if you email me, referring to this live, I will give you a very good discount on the course. Alrighty. You guys have a great day. I have to go, and I'll see you next Tuesday.